Hey there, guys, it's Mia here. I am so excited, as always. I'm excited. This is just to the community. I'm so excited about the new year right around the corner. I'm excited also just about this year and the lessons that I've learned. I am excited about the bumps, the bruises, because they make us better. And I'm excited about the accomplishments. I'm excited also about the love in my life, and just thankful. So, and I know that you're feeling exactly the same way. Something about the ending of a new year that sparks a lot of remembrance of the things that have worked really well. I think it's a great opportunity. I've got 4 simple things that I'm going to share with you over the next couple of minutes that I think will really support you. Now, I have been posting inside of the community so many really, I think, thoughtful posts, whether they're written or whether they're video content from me to get you ready, get your mind ready, get your mindset ready, and for having the momentum that you deserve for 2026. And I promise you that the individuals who hit their goals and exceed their goals that first quarter, these individuals right now are the ones that I've been talking with, and they're the ones with a plan. They're the ones with a vision. They're the ones that are getting clear, that have the intention to not waste a day, not waste a minute because they're baking a cake. You know what I mean? I made some bread though last night. It was great. So you still have time to be able to do the things that you love to do for your family, play games. God knows, listen, I've been playing games till 1 in the morning, sometimes as late as 4 in the morning with the children. I wouldn't trade it for the world, but I still make time for myself, to grow my life, right? So, and I suggest the same. All right, so here are the 4 things that I want you all as a community to think about. And the title of this live was simply, for you to think about this upcoming year and the 4 requirements that I think will determine if you hit your goals or you don't hit your goals, or if you're thinking right or you're not thinking right. I wrote them down. The first is your readiness. And I want to talk about readiness because we never really talk about it. I do write about it a lot. Readiness to me means you can have the greatest idea to win, but you have to be ready to win. And let's not relate it to only your goal. Let's take something that's very basic, a sport, baseball. If you wanted to play baseball, if that was your goal, to be ready for baseball, you have to be suited up in a certain way. You have to have your cleats, right? You got to have certain socks. You got to know your position. You've got to have the right bat or the right mitt that you're supposed to have. So readiness is not only having the desire to do the thing that you want to do, it's having the tools to be able to do it with. And if there's ever a separation, I would say, between the women that I have the great privilege and honor to support, who are giants, and the women who haven't yet chosen themselves, the biggest difference is readiness. People who hit and exceed their goals, they don't hide, they don't run, they do the opposite. They lean in to what they need. They are very investment forward, proactively. They don't need reminders in order for them to choose powerfully what it is that they want. They are, and I think readiness is something that, if I didn't talk about readiness to you in this community, it would be me not being fully transparent, because the truth of the matter is, to win, you have to be ready. Readiness is an inside game, and I want you to go back to if you were a player and you were playing baseball. Like, no one else can be more ready for you to play the game than you. Like, your parents could have been ready for you to play the game. Your spouse could be ready for you to play the game, but it doesn't impact your performance. It's you. You have to decide that you are ready, that you are deserving, that you're going to go out there and you're going to get a home run, or you're going to catch that ball, right? So readiness is an inside game. And I think a lot of times women specifically delegate their readiness to someone else because of fears, doubts, insecurities. What does it look like? We hide behind our decision making with our kids, or decision making with our spouse, right? Or our decision making around our work. Like I would do this, but I got to find out what I'm doing for work, or what school, if you're getting graduate education, or what my spouse says and all that. And what that says to me or communicates to me is that your internal ability to be ready for yourself, there's something there that needs to be worked on, right? Because internal readiness, there, you can't stop someone that's ready. You know, if you wanted to play and you weren't getting play time, right? Going back to baseball, what would you do? You probably on the weekends, probably after school, if you were a young kid, you'd probably be practicing and practicing and practicing so you could make the team, or so you could get the spot that you wanted. See, readiness is something that it's a belief that we have in ourselves. And when we have that, there's not any investment in the world that would keep us away from ourselves. And, you know, you think about some of the greats like Michael Jordan or Kobe Bryant, and, you know, all of them say the same thing. They practiced when no one was looking because they weren't good, but they wanted to be ready, right, for their opportunity. You know, we've heard it over and over again that preparation is when success meets the opportunity, great things happen, right? And it's readiness. And so I don't know where you sit with that, or as you hear this. I know that it's a message that's from my heart that I think is really important and appropriate for this time of the year. And I am a coach, mentor, consultant to women who can say yes and figure it out, who proactively lean into and choose what it is that they want the first time. Women who can believe bigger for themselves, but back up that belief with strategic investments. And this time of the year, they're not hiding behind, you know, decorating a tree or a holiday party, believing you have to do one and you can't do the other. Because readiness, you find a way. You know, they're the women that get up early, right, to do the things they need to do. And so think about that. The second thing that I want you to think about also, and this is just from my heart to my community this time of the year, I think it's so important, is risk. And one of the things that's important is, yes, to be ready, but two, to have an appetite to be able to take a risk. I know for myself that over the years, you know, there were never any guarantees. Like every great thing that's ever happened to me, and in my business, in my life, I took a risk, and I took a risk, and that risk looked like faith. So to me, that's what faith is. It is a risk. I remember the very first time I got signed to America Now and to shoot segments. And while I had done local television segments at the time, I had never done any kind of national TV, and the idea of a film crew following me around for a couple of days to shoot segment after segment and trusting that I had everything I needed, very first time doing that, was scary. But I was willing to take that risk. I could have said no. I could have said I'm not ready. I could have said I practiced. The readiness that I was telling you guys about. I practiced with my own camera over and over and over again so I could get ready. And I took the risk. I bet on myself. I hung from that skinny branch. And I promise you that the goals that you have for yourself this upcoming year are going to require risk. They are going to require you to make a risk. I believe risk is faith. Because every single time I have had the faith to risk in myself, to make the investments in myself, to try something I haven't done before, to, you know, to shoot on national television shows, I've won. And I wouldn't have won if I thought I wasn't ready, if I thought I wasn't prepared, if I didn't exercise faith, if I believed what I saw in front of me. You know, I think about risk in terms of making that decision 20 plus years ago to launch a coaching business. I didn't know that in doing what I was doing, I was laying the foundation that would allow me to have coached thousands of women took a risk. I took a risk. I trusted myself. I grew my belief in myself, and I went for it, and it paid off. And I promise you, no risk, no reward. No risk, no reward. The reward is even sometimes so much greater than the risk, because when you face your fears, which risk causes a fear inside of you, you get to live with a different you. You get to live with different gifts. You learn who you are in ways that you can never, ever know who you are sitting on the sidelines. You can never. Okay, number 3. Resolve. Resolve to me is diligence, is commitment. It's the resolve to not placate, not to just be comfortable with being comfortable. And yet so many do have that mindset of just, I'm good. I'm making, decent money. I'm making, quarter of $250,000 a year, or maybe even a little bit more than that, or I'm charging $300 some an hour, or I'm good. But resolve is when you become resolute with the thing that you want, the next level of what it is, and you decide, you become uncompromising around that thing. You show up differently. And I can tell you a couple examples what it looks like to me. I see it all the time because I work with women like that. They come, they book an appointment, we have a conversation, and they come and they say things to me like, I'm ready. And many of them in their readiness, or like whatever the investment is that I need to make of myself, I'm that committed to my dream. Or they don't have caps on their dream where they're like, they've got this dream where they only want to invest like, $1,500 or $2,000 in themselves. They come fully prepared to invest in themselves. Their result, because they see for themselves that they're going to hit the goals. And for them, some people, the goal is, I want to hit 6 figures first quarter, so whatever it takes. And they totally have the mentality that I'll invest, I'm making this up, 20 grand to hit 6 figures or more in 3 months. Where do I sign? Or they may say, I see for myself the freedom I deserve, the freedom I want, and I'm willing to do what and they've resolved about it. And they're willing to make the commitment right then. Because they have decided that there is no turning back. And I will say that a lot of times when you're dealing with very sharp and accomplished women, you have a choice, right? Because sometimes the choice that you have is you already have a lot of really great opportunities, but you might be living a life of quiet desperation. There's this other thing on the other side that's bigger, right? That you want to accomplish, that's personal, and that will allow you to feel fully expressed, and you don't get to do that maybe in your current work. And to move in that direction, you're going to be fully seen. You know that you got to be ready for that, right? Mentally ready for it, mindset wise. You got to be ready for what people might say, might think, because you're naked and vulnerable when you're running your own company, for sure. People see you. You know that there's some risk with that. And because you significantly have created success in this one area of your life, in your profession, you're known, you have this great reputation, the question is, fear comes in, right? Because you also wonder at times, if this doesn't work, will they all think I'm a failure? Because everything you've done, you've won. But now you want to do your own thing and you feel vulnerable, you feel naked, you have to have resolve. Like, I'm just going to do it. I have to face that, because then you get to experience that the way you trend, the way you've always trended, like you're the person that says yes, you figure it out, and you get it done, and you get it done well. That's exactly what's going to happen. But you don't know that until you're resolute, and your commitment, and that you keep showing up, and you keep doing it, you keep learning, you keep growing, you keep investing, learning, growing, implementing, doing the work. That's how we get the goal done. And I would say that fourth R equally, that's going to be very, very important and is important, is resilience. Because success sometimes isn't all about winning right up front. I have clients who have worked with me who sometimes you got to lose to win. sometimes you have to lose something to win something, right? Not all the time, but sometimes you do. And eventually everybody loses to win. So what do I mean by that? That means that I see it a lot because I work with really smart women, and sometimes women who are exceptionally talented tend to overgive, overfunction, and undervalue themselves. So sometimes the thing that you have to lose is this idea, just because you can do it, that it should be free or something you don't notice. Like a lot of times it's an unconscious thing that folks are doing. Like you're providing so much value and transformation because you just do it at a level that's high anyway, that you have forgotten that level of consideration and care that you deserve for what it is that you do. And you have to lose that. It requires resilience because when you are used to being the person that's like, give me the ball, it does require a degree of resilience to stand back, to ask for reciprocity, to ask for what you deserve, right? To learn that. It requires a different level of grit and understanding. It's a muscle that you learn to build that it might not be instinctual for you, but being resilient around the things that will grow you and change your life are so important. This is a high level conversation, and it's not going to be for everybody, but it is going to be for you if you're that person and you know that this upcoming year is your year. You know the next couple of months, this is your time, and you're ready to realize all that God has for you. And I want that and so much more. When I think about sometimes dreams, I like to think about not what's realistic. I often like to think about what's unrealistic. Now, to me, one of the things for myself that was unrealistic when I got started business 20 years ago was that I'd be able to build a business working from my home. Okay, so now this is before we had like live video like you're seeing me right now, right? Couldn't shoot from my home office. But we only had conference calling. This idea of being able to work with anyone in the world, from my house, was unrealistic. And yet, today it's very realistic. And I challenge you, because I've worked from home for over 22 years, from the comfort of my home, supporting women and elevating them to be giant for themselves, to show up and understand how to package the gift of you, right? I challenge you to have that unrealistic dream that you go for, and not a dream that you sleep on, but one that you step into with these 4 things that I just talked about today. 1, readiness. 2, the risk. 3, with resolve. And 4, with resilience. Because there will be ups and there will be downs, but there'll be ups. There'll be more ups than downs. And sometimes in order for you to get to where you are, there may be some pruning that has to happen, some growing that has to happen. But I assure you on the other side is everything that's great. It's everything that you want. And I hope that there's something that I've shared with you today that really gets you to move. And if that movement is something that I can support you with in taking your ideas and putting them in a structure that you can monetize, you showing up as the highest, tallest, and best version of yourself. If hearing this, you're talking to me and you want to have a conversation, I'll click. There'll be a link somewhere on this page, or likely wherever you're looking, you'll be able to find a way to be able to reach me and fill out a short form so that we can have a conversation around what could next year look like. And I think it's time to imagine for yourself what 90 little days, because I'll be here, could look like 90 days from now, and for you to be willing to do the work in a way that's full of ease and grace, not hustle and all of the hardship that you've been told. And for those of you who've been told you got to be twice as good, work twice as hard for the rest of your life, I want you to understand that's the reason you're over-functioning, because this idea of trying to prove to the world that you're great. I'm talking about getting to a place in your life where you understand that you already are. You don't have to prove it. and that you get to take a stand and just live it, just be it, and not apologize for being the smartest or tallest or the greatest version of yourself for anyone. All right. So if that's a message that you needed, here's my gift to you. If you're looking for a mentor, a consultant that will support you in your giantness, owning your bigness, and showing up for all that's available to you, then I'd love to have the opportunity to see how I can support you and see what the synergy looks like. But you've got to be ready for risk, ready to resolve, and you've got to be resilient. All right. I love you, and I'll talk with you soon. Have a great and amazing rest of your day.